Okay, I want to show you how to add soles, make your own soles to add to a pair of booties you've made. And what I've done is I went out and got a package of the self-adhesive on the back foam sheets, okay? And I've already kind of prepped one in my colors, as you can see there. Alright, well, let me explain something. First, you want to get the person to stand on, put their weight on their foot, trace their foot out. There's your base. Alright. Well, you need to have the sole and the outer section of the booty fit the foot larger than that. Okay. And as you can see, I've done a little bit past. You can do more than this if you'd like. I just did a little bit past the actual size of the foot, as you can see. Okay. And it's up to you how much past the actual size of the foot you want. I only do a little. This is great for making your lining, okay? And I show how to do, use your base for making socks. So you make it like a regular sock, but your outside boot is going to be based off of this one, and it's going to need to be a little larger, which is what I've done here. And then what I've also done is tacked down the toe and the heel, and because this is going on my daughter, I put a little elastic on the inside so it'll stay on her foot. Okay, so I have my booties prepped, but they need the soles added. Alright, well, I don't need this now, but I do need this. Okay, and I need all the colors that I want to use. You can use all the same colors if you'd like. Alright, but because I've done a rainbow pair, I'm planning on sticking with that. Alright, so what I do is I turn it over to the paper side so that you don't have pin marks. And I take my sole mold and I trace it out. And then to get the other foot, you simply flip it over. You flip it over, you get the other foot. You don't have to cut out two. Alright. Trace out the other side. Okay. Then you're going to cut it out. And you're going to do this with every single color you want. You can make it as thin and as thick as you'd like. Okay. I did blue, green, yellow, pink, and my purple is the one that I flip over to be on the bottom because you're going to have two sticky sides. They're going to need to go together. Okay. And I'll want to explain what my top layer is, which is what I'm working on right now. It's the layer you're going to actually attach the booty to. And you'll want to either sew in an edge or something. But you'll need to attach the booty to the top layer, which is what I always choose to do. And then after I attach it to the top layer, then the top layer gets attached to the actual sole. Okay. So cut it as cleanly and as neatly as you can to the exact size. You will file it down some to smooth it out. If I had my Dremel, I'd really get it nice and smooth, but I don't have my Dremel in my possession, so. But you could file it down where it's nice and smooth and more professional looking, which is what I usually really prefer to do. But my girl's probably going to go in and tear these shoes up running around the house and outside on them, because these are her little house shoes that I'm making. Alright, now put that to the side. I'm not going to take the paper off of my top layer, alright, because I want to be able to sew that on, alright. But you're going to cut out, and you're going to stack them all on top of each other, okay. And then on the bottom layer, because you don't want sticky, and this paper will wear out and the sticky will get there, and it will become a complete mess. So on the bottom layer, you're going to flip the feet, okay? And the way you know is if you have your two paper sides line up, and they do, see? And that's how you want to do. Pre-check your feet before attaching, all right? That's important. So I've got my paper and paper side together, and I know they match up. So what I want to do is I want to peel both sides. And it's easy to stack up. The sticky is pretty darn good on these, okay? So beware. And on this, you better have a good idea of where your placement is, because on the bottom layer, it ain't coming up if you place it wrong. I'm just letting you know that. Alright, so there you have that. You've attached your bottom layer. And if you need to even up your soles, you can go in and clean that up a little. There's not much it looks like I need to do to this one. It looks like it mostly needs just filing down. Okay. Again, if you have a Dremel, I would suggest taking a sanding thing with a Dremel and doing this, because it'll neaten it up. What I like to do to smooth those edges out is to take an emery board or some sandpaper and smooth it out. And that gets all nice and clean, and you can retouch it up even after you attach your top part of the booty. Okay. So you basically made your sole. As you can see, it's all nice and pretty. Okay, so you basically made your sole. Alright, so here's what's next. You need to attach your booties to your sole so that you can attach them to the big sole. Okay, and that's what they'll eventually look like. What I like to do is sometimes it's easier to take a crochet hook, but sometimes it's easier to take a needle and do this. And this works for either any needlework you want to do, okay? And I just happen to be a loom knitter. This works for any needle knit on the sole thing. Needle knit, crochet, kind of works that way. I'm going to use the actual color of the boot. Okay. And what I want to do is go in and create a thing to be able to attach it to. Alright, and I like to start at the back. Most people don't see the back. Alright, so I'm going to send the needle up through there, and you want to be careful, alright, because you don't want to break your foam, okay, on your seaming. So I send it through, and then I'm going to send it through again. Okay. But what I'm going to do is send it through that loop right there, and then pull it tight. Okay. And then I'm going to move it over another like 1/4 of an inch. And you're going to do this all the way around. Okay, and send it through the bottom, through the top. And then you're going to send it through that loop. snug it up. Okay, and what you see you're getting is something that you can sew your booty to, alright? So, I'm going to show you one more time, and then I'm going to tell you pause the video. Get this much done. So you're going to move over the next 1/4 of an inch, send it up through there. And then send it through the loop. And there you have 2. Okay. You want to do this all the way around on both of them. Okay. And then we will attach it, and then we will sew this on. Okay. But go ahead and do that all the way around. Alright, on both of them. And then I'll show you how to go in and attach it to your sole, and then sew your boot to your sole. And then you'll have made little shoes. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and get your top layer ready on both sides, and then I will show you how to assemble it all. Okay, I have already added a booty to a sole, so I'm going to show you how to get it to this point. I've already finished my seaming around the edge, and now you want to take the paper off. And this can be a little bit fun, but try to be as delicate as possible, because you don't want to rip the seam out of your foam, and this foam is rather delicate. So what you want to do is you want to go in and you want to be taking the paper off. And the process is pretty simple from here. But you want to get your hot glue gun ready. So go ahead and have your hot glue gun ready, so that when you get this paper ripped off and everything, you can hot glue this on the sticky side down onto your sole. Okay, and you'll see that I kept my end attached, and that's so that I can sew it directly onto the booty, onto it. I don't like having a whole bunch of start, finish, that kind of thing. Go ahead and hot glue your sole so that you'll be ready to add your white section on. And I put a heavy coating mostly around the edge, but the sticky will help that's already on it. Okay, then I'm going to neatly place it over the top of that and press it down. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to make sure that it's solidly attached to this part of the sole. So I'm going to be extending the glue gun through the edging to make sure that it is thoroughly stuck to it. Okay. And then once I make sure that that's done, then I'll go in and start the sewing process. But I like to make sure that I've got it securely placed. Okay, now you want to do this only if you have a lining. If you don't have a lining, don't do this. You want to glue your booty down onto the sole, and I find this works well only if you have a lining. If you don't, then you'll feel the glue through the boot. So if you don't have a lining, then you'll want to just sew it on directly. If you do, hot glue it down. Alright, so I've already kind of thread my needle and everything, and I'm going in and taking that outer sewn edge that I did on the sole and sewing it to the boot, as you can see here. And you're going to end up doing this all the way around the boot on both sides. Okay. And so you want to go in and you want to sew that all the way around. And then, as you can see, I've done that here, and I have it sewn to the boot. And then what you'll need is a tread, and I usually just add a little bit of dots of glue for tread. It doesn't really need to be neat because you're going to be wearing the sole down pretty quickly, so you can just kind of put these few dots, or you can put lines in, or whatnot. You can do whatever design you want, but for tread, I usually just put some hot glue down and allow the girl to work them in. Okay, so we have this kind of a sloppy edge going, and what I've done is I've done a nice long chain that I can wrap around and nice and neatly glue over that. You can also add rhinestones, buttons, ribbon to really clean up that trim, and then you just want to glue it down nice and neat, and that cleans up that edge really nice, and that way you don't have that sloppy kind of edge going. And so I just did a simple chain on mine, but you can do ribbon, you can do rhinestones, buttons, that kind of thing. But yeah, and I always like to start back on my heel because you don't generally see that area too much. And I like to go in and hot glue this trim down so that because yarn and hot glue go together really well. But keep in mind, it's pretty darn permanent once you do this, alright? So, go in and start sticking that down nice and neat around the edge. Okay, and you'll see that that'll really clean up that edge and make it look nice and neat and look more like a professional shoe. And if you have that Dremel, make sure you go in and sand down those edges more. It looks really nice when you do. Okay. Cleaning up my edge. And that is how you make your own sole to add to your booties. And you can see that it has a really nice effect, and it can be any colors you want and that kind of thing. They have some really thick stuff and ones that are in larger size for adults that you could probably do yours, but it's going to take a heck of a lot more sheets of foam to do an adult size. But that's how you can do it. You can do it the same method. It's the same method. It's no different to make your own if you're an adult. And it really is worth it. So that's how you do it. And I hope to see projects that you do online. You can share it on my Facebook page and the Loom Muse. And I always love seeing people use the techniques that I show in their own daily projects that they do. And it always is nice to see. So hope you enjoyed this video.